Stuck in traffic, paying a car loan, and still missing out on half the stuff your ride can actually do? In 2025, commuters, Uber drivers, and even weekend road trippers are realizing they've been shelling out cash for features they never touch. From lane keep assists that feel more like a backseat driver to wireless chargers that barely juice your phone, modern cars are packed with gizmos collecting dust. Why does that matter? Because those extras inflate the sticker price you worked so hard to cover. Let's break down the hidden features you're paying for but almost never use. Number 10. Built-in navigation systems. How many times have you ignored your car's built-in GPS and grabbed your phone instead? For most drivers in 2025, that's almost every trip. Automakers still charge thousands extra for navigation packages, yet Google Maps and Waze run circles around them with live traffic updates, rerouting, and free upgrades. The regret hits later. You paid for a premium feature, but it sits unused while your phone does the real work. Most people miss this detail at the dealership. Those navigation upgrades often mean locked-in subscription fees for map updates you'll barely touch. Isn't it frustrating to realize you already own the better option, but it's sitting in your pocket, not your dashboard? Would you rather pay extra for a clunky screen or trust the app that already guides you everywhere for free? The smarter move? Unless you drive through dead zones with no coverage, skip factory navigation. Put that money into features you'll actually use daily. Drop your take. Does built-in GPS still matter in 2025? Or is it just an overpriced relic? Number 9. Wireless charging pads. Ever tossed your phone on that sleek wireless charging pad only to find it didn't charge at all? For many car owners, that's the daily reality. Wireless pads promise futuristic convenience, but they're slow, picky about phone cases, and often overheat. The result? Drivers end up plugging in a good old-fashioned cable while the expensive pad sits unused. This is the regret most buyers don't see coming. You paid for cutting-edge tech, but in practice, it's one of the least dependable features in your car. Isn't it ironic that a $10 USB cable outperforms a premium feature you already paid for? Some drivers argue wireless pads make the cabin look clean and clutter-free. Others say speed and reliability matter more. Where do you stand? Tidy design or dependable power? If someone told you before buying, you'd probably keep the cash and rely on a simple cable or invest in an aftermarket pad that actually works. Number 8. Subscription locked features. Imagine sliding into your brand new car in 2025 and realizing the heated seats you thought were included only work if you pay a monthly fee. Sounds like a joke, right? Yet that's the reality more drivers are facing. Automakers are quietly placing features like remote start, adaptive headlights, and even horsepower boosts behind subscription paywalls. The hardware is built into your car, but unless you keep paying, it stays locked. Most buyers don't notice this until after the paperwork is signed. You assumed the feature was yours, but it turns out you're just renting it, like Netflix for car buttons. And let's be real, who actually wants another subscription to juggle? Some argue this model keeps upfront costs lower, letting drivers pay only for what they use. Others say it's pure greed, making you repurchase features you technically already own. Which side are you on? Is it innovation or just the most annoying trick in the book? If you knew before buying, you'd probably do what savvy drivers now recommend. Check the fine print. Ask your dealer which features are permanently included and which ones require ongoing fees. It might save you from signing up for a car that nickel and dimes you long after the sale. So tell me, would you rather pay more upfront and own every feature outright, or save at purchase and unlock things month by month? Drop your thoughts, because this debate is reshaping the future of driving. Number 7. Touchscreen-only climate controls and buried HVAC menus. Ever tried to lower the AC while driving and ended up tapping through 3 menus just to find the right setting? That's the daily frustration for anyone stuck with touchscreen-only climate controls. Automakers love to brag about clean dashboards with fewer buttons, but most drivers just want to adjust the temperature without feeling like they're scrolling through an iPad. The regret sneaks up quickly. What seemed sleek at the dealership turns into a constant annoyance on the road. Most people don't realize how much they'll miss the old-school knobs until they're fumbling with a fingerprint-smeared screen while traffic's flying around them. Isn't it ironic that we've advanced tech so far, yet something as basic as heating or cooling your car is now harder to use? Here's where it gets even more frustrating. Voice controls aren't always the savior either. Some cars require exact phrasing, others mishear commands, and suddenly you're yelling, "Set fan speed to 3" at a machine that just won't listen. Meanwhile, a physical dial could have solved the whole problem in 1 second. So let's spark the debate. Would you rather have a futuristic button-free cabin or a reliable tactile setup that works every single time without distraction? Some drivers argue minimalism looks sharp and premium. Others say safety and usability should always come first. Where do you fall? A smarter move most shoppers don't notice. Test drive the HVAC system before buying. Sit in the car, try adjusting the climate while driving around the lot. If it feels clunky in 10 minutes, imagine 5 years of frustration. If you're shopping in 2025, keep this in mind. Simplicity beats sleekness when you're sweating in summer or freezing in winter. A touchscreen climate system might look futuristic, but will you actually enjoy using it every day? It only gets crazier from here, so before we move on, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a like to bring this piece of information to more viewers. Number 6. Auto Start Stop. Ever found yourself wondering if all those modern eco features in your car are actually saving you money or just saving the manufacturer's reputation for efficiency? Auto Start Stop is one of the biggest culprits. This system shuts off your engine when the car is idling, like at a red light, then restarts it the second you take your foot off the brake. On paper, it sounds brilliant. Less wasted fuel, fewer emissions. But have you actually noticed it making a real difference in your wallet? Here's what most people miss. The fuel savings are tiny. In real-world conditions, you're talking pennies, not dollars. Meanwhile, you're putting extra strain on your starter motor, battery, and even the air conditioning system. Ever sat at a light on a hot summer day only to realize your car isn't cooling properly because the engine is off? That's the kind of frustration no brochure warns you about. Some drivers swear by it, others disable it the moment they buy the car. And that's where the debate gets interesting. Do the long-term repair costs outweigh the minimal fuel savings? Or is it worth enduring the occasional rough restart for the sake of feeling eco-friendly? The regret for many buyers comes when they realize the feature is automatically on every time they start their vehicle. Unless your car has a permanent off setting, which most don't, you'll find yourself constantly pressing that disable button. It's a tiny annoyance that adds up quickly, especially if you drive in stop-and-go city traffic. Now, here's a thought. Would you rather sacrifice a bit of fuel economy for peace of mind and less wear on your car's components, or embrace the feature as a step toward greener driving? Drivers are split right down the middle. Number 5. Lane assist systems. Have you ever been driving on the highway, minding your own business, when your steering wheel suddenly nudges itself or the car vibrates as if scolding you for crossing a line? That's lane assist technology stepping in. On paper, it sounds brilliant, an extra set of eyes to keep you from drifting. But in reality, how often do drivers actually rely on it versus simply finding it more of an annoyance? Lane assist systems work through cameras and sensors that track the markings on the road. If you start drifting without signaling, the system can warn you, or in newer cars, even tug the wheel back into place. Sounds futuristic, right? The catch is that most people end up switching it off. Why? Because it's too sensitive. Roads with faded paint, construction zones, or even wide rural lanes confuse it. Drivers complain about being fought by their own car when all they wanted was to dodge a pothole or slightly adjust their line. This is one of those features you've technically paid for, but chances are you barely touch it after the first few drives. Many drivers don't even realize it can be fine-tuned in settings, or that some models allow temporary overrides. That's the regret most people have, ignoring the feature completely instead of adjusting it to fit their driving style. Here's where things get interesting. Some argue lane assist is life-saving, while others say it creates dependency and even dulls driver awareness. Should a car step in to correct you, or should responsibility stay fully in the driver's hands? Think about it. Do you trust the system more than yourself on a late-night highway run? And there's another layer. Insurance companies are starting to reward vehicles with active safety features like lane assist. So even if you're not a fan, the presence of this system could lower your premiums. That's a benefit most drivers overlook because they dismiss the system as a gimmick. Number 4. Built-in rear seat entertainment, headrest screens. Do you remember the first time you saw a car with built-in headrest screens? For many, it felt like stepping into the future. Movies in the back seat, games at your fingertips, kids glued to cartoons instead of kicking the seat in front of them. But here's the question. When was the last time you actually saw anyone use those factory-installed screens today? The truth is, rear seat entertainment was once considered a luxury upgrade worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Families imagined long road trips with endless movies keeping the kids quiet. The reality? Most of those screens sit untouched, collecting dust, because almost everyone, kids and adults alike, now carries their own entertainment system in their pocket, a smartphone or tablet. Why fiddle with clunky menus and limited DVD options when Netflix or YouTube is just a tap away? And this is where regret quietly sneaks in. Many buyers don't realize until after purchase that those rear seat screens aren't as seamless as they expected. They may require separate headphones, have dated interfaces, or even need old-fashioned DVDs in an age where streaming rules. In fact, one of the most common complaints from parents is that they paid extra for built-in entertainment, only to have their kids reject it in favor of an iPad. Here's something most people miss. While the factory option looks sleek, it often limits flexibility. Want to connect a streaming stick or gaming console? That usually means extra adapters, compatibility issues, or outright frustration. Meanwhile, a tablet mount on the back of a seat costs a fraction of the price and offers endless streaming choices with none of the limitations. So the real debate becomes, are headrest screens simply outdated tech in a world dominated by personal devices? Or do they still have value for families who want a more integrated, distraction-free setup? Some argue they keep kids safer since they're locked into the system, instead of fiddling with fragile tablets, while others insist they're just a costly relic. Where do you stand? At the end of the day, automakers continue to install them, but far fewer drivers are actually using them. If you're in the market for a new car, the smarter move may be skipping the built-in entertainment package and investing in portable devices instead. After all, why pay thousands for something that'll probably never get turned on? Now I want to hear from you. If you've had a car with rear seat screens, did your passengers actually use them? Or did they gather dust while everyone scrolled their phones instead? Drop your thoughts, because your story might just save someone else from paying for a feature they'll never touch. Number 3. Gesture controls and wave your hand features. Raise your hand to change the song. Swipe to turn up the volume. Twist your fingers to answer a call. Sounds futuristic, right? Gesture controls in cars were marketed as the cutting-edge evolution of driving, a hands-free way to interact with your vehicle that would keep your eyes on the road. But here's the thing, how many drivers actually use them? Be honest, when was the last time you waved at your dashboard instead of pressing a simple button? Most owners admit that after trying gesture controls once or twice, they forget the feature even exists. Why? Because while the idea feels cool, the execution often falls flat. The gestures can be finicky, requiring precise movement to register, and when they don't work, you end up more distracted than if you just tapped a button. In fact, many drivers report accidentally triggering functions with an innocent hand movement, like reaching for a drink or adjusting sunglasses. That tiny frustration adds up quickly, and most people go back to using traditional controls. The regret most drivers don't realize until after they've paid for it, these gesture control systems often come bundled with premium infotainment packages. That means you could be spending thousands extra on something that looks great in the brochure but collects dust in real life. Imagine investing in technology that sounds futuristic, but ends up being the least used feature in your entire car. Here's a question. Would you rather have gesture controls that sometimes misfire, or a simple, reliable physical button you can reach without thinking? It's a debate worth having, because some argue that automakers are pushing toward more digital interaction at the expense of basic convenience. There's also the learning curve. Unlike a steering wheel or a gear shift, gestures aren't universal. One brand may require a circular finger motion to adjust volume, while another wants a horizontal swipe. That means if you switch cars, you're relearning a new language for something as simple as turning down the music. In a world where drivers already have to juggle navigation, traffic, and safety, adding one more layer of complexity feels unnecessary. Still, some tech enthusiasts defend gesture controls. They argue that it's only a matter of time before the systems become smoother, more accurate, and more integrated with future autonomous vehicles. Maybe one day you'll wave your hand to adjust cabin lighting, switch between apps, or even control augmented reality displays projected on the windshield. Until then, though, most of us would agree, buttons and knobs win on practicality every time. Number 2. Active sound/fake exhaust. Why spend thousands on a car only to realize the roar under the hood isn't even real? Manufacturers have quietly slipped in active sound systems, fake exhaust notes piped through speakers, to make your drive feel sportier than it actually is. But here's the catch. Most drivers don't even know it exists, let alone use it. Think about it. Do you really need your car lying to you with artificial engine growls? Or would you prefer the ride be quiet and genuine? This is one of those features you're paying for without asking, and once people discover it, regret hits hard. After all, why fuel a gas tank in your speakers just to simulate performance? Some drivers argue it enhances the driving vibe, especially in smaller turbocharged cars where natural sound is minimal. Others can't stand the idea, calling it car karaoke for engines. Which side are you on? Does it make a commute more exciting, or does it feel like a scam? Most people miss the fact that you can often disable it through a settings menu, or at the very least tone it down. That alone could save you from headaches on long road trips when the fake growl starts to feel more like a buzzing mosquito than raw power. So, if you had the choice, authentic silence or a pumped-up soundtrack, drop your take below, because this one always splits drivers right down the middle. Number 1. In-car marketplace. Order food, book hotels from Dash. Cars aren't just vehicles anymore. They're turning into vending machines on wheels. Built-in marketplaces let you order Starbucks, reserve a table, even book a hotel room, all from your dashboard. But here's the irony. Most owners never use it. When was the last time you actually needed to grab a coffee using your car's touchscreen instead of your phone? That's what makes this feature so bizarre. It sounds futuristic, but in practice, it just clutters the system. Most drivers regret even activating it because the interface is often clunky, slow, and distracting. Now, some argue it's convenient. Why fumble for your phone when the car can handle it? Others say it's unnecessary tech bloat that adds complexity where none was needed. What do you think? Game changer or gimmick? The overlooked problem is that in-car marketplaces are rarely updated. Restaurants disappear, menus are outdated, and sometimes the system just fails to connect. You're essentially paying for a middleman that doesn't work as smoothly as your smartphone apps. And most people miss it that every extra layer of tech inside your car can also mean higher repair or update costs down the road. That built-in convenience may not be as free as it looks. So, if you had to choose, would you stick with your phone's apps, or would you actually use your car's ordering system if it worked flawlessly? Let me know in the comments, because this debate isn't going away anytime soon. We've just uncovered 10 hidden car features you're paying for but probably never touch, and the truth is, some of them are genius, while others feel like wasted dollars. Which one surprised you most? And which would you gladly ditch tomorrow? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I'd love to hear your take. If you enjoyed peeling back the secrets behind your car's tech, make sure to hit that like button, share this with a fellow driver, and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive into the features hiding right under your nose.